Ever wondered what happens when a cozy medieval tavern simulation tries to be just like Stardew Valley? Well, grab your apron because Traveler's Rest is here to prove that even ale can fix a lost identity. Let's dive into why the game might have lost its charm while trying to mimic someone else's. Hello and welcome to this video. I'm Pixelated Quest and today we'll be playing Traveler's Rest and talking about whether the game has lost its identity during its long development cycle. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to my channel or leaving a like or a comment. If you don't know what Traveler's Rest is about, let me bring you up to date real quickly. Traveler's Rest is a cozy tavern management simulation that blends crafting, exploration and community building in a cheerful fantasy setting. The game puts you in a role of an innkeeper tasked with transforming a rundown tavern into a lively social hub. Players can brew beer, distill spirits, farm and craft a variety of items, all while building relationships with customers and the local community. The game tries heavily to build upon Stardew Valley and the warm, cozy vibe that it conveys. Nowadays, it feels like any game with colorful graphics describes itself as just like Stardew Valley or a cozy Stardew Valley game, and this is where my problem lies. Stardew Valley was one of a kind, and too often games try to mimic it. In doing so, they lose their own identity, which in my opinion is somewhat the case with Traveler's Rest. The game was released into early access on July 28, 2020, over 4 years ago. I purchased it about 2 months later. In fact, here's the receipt from September 19, 2020. At the time, the game costs $11.99, as you can see. It seems inflation has hit this game quite hard, with the price increasing from $11.99 to $17.99 over the past 4 years. But let's focus on the game itself. Since I purchased the game, I've logged about 150 hours of playtime. The game has seen a lot of updates over the years, and I can remember most of them. I particularly enjoyed the winter update of 2021, I think it was, which introduced limited time Christmas decorations and items that can no longer be found in the game. That being said, I feel like with each update the game has been gradually losing its identity. I remember when I first started playing the game, the environment and gameplay felt completely different from what they are today. Back then there was no backstory or real purpose. It simply felt like a relaxed, slow-paced medieval tavern simulation game. At some point though, the game started shifting its focus. It moved away from being original and started aiming to become one of those cozy Stardew Valley-like games you often see on TikTok gaming channels. By the way, most games claiming this label aren't even close, it's just become a tired marketing buzzword at this point. When I first started playing the game, it was straightforward and simple. You had your tavern, no, you did not need to repair it, a plot of land outside the tavern, which was the only part of the map at the time, and medieval themed recipes to cook and brew. Everything you needed was ordered via the mailbox outside, and your items would be delivered within a few hours. Little remains of the original systems and content. Now you can explore different areas beyond your home plot. All the recipes, ingredients and overall graphics have been completely redrawn, which I must admit is the only improvement I prefer to the original. The crafting, cooking, brewing, building and nearly every other system has been entirely overhauled. However, one glaring omission remains: the magic and social system. These were promised years ago but are still absent from the game. Over the past 4 years, the game has introduced many changes, but to me, none of these improvements feel particularly original. Most features follow the logic of Stardew Valley. From cooking, building, exploring and the reward system to farming, especially farming. Even the popping sound when harvesting crops is nearly identical to Stardew Valley's. The game now includes a tier system for most mechanics to slow down progression, even for recipes. Thankfully, I have an old save file. In this file, I have already expanded my tavern, built a strong reputation, started offering lodging and served around 12,000 customers in total. It feels like a piece of the game's original charm has been preserved in these older saves. But what actually happens if you load an old save game and try to continue playing it now? The game works fine for me from the old save game, thankfully, but many of the recipes and brewing processes that I could complete before, these recent updates make them locked. And apparently I don't know how to prepare them yet. This is something I had suspected would happen, as these types of updates and logic changes became more and more noticeable with each update the developers have released. That is why I went ahead and cooked a bunch of meals and prepared a ton of alcohol. So screw you, game. Most of these meals apparently I don't know how to prepare anymore. Luckily I knew how to make them before. Must be some kind of dementia system that the developers implemented here. One positive addition, however, was the story with Mai the Boggart and the intro. Both the intro and the Boggart, who by the way is a cat acting as a tutorial guide, serve a real purpose. They provide the player with crucial background information on why we're there and what we're supposed to be doing. Mai, the cat, though don't call him that, he hates it and refers to himself as Mai the Boggart, is a great way to introduce the player to the game and the system it offers. I started a new game partway through this video just to see how the game plays when starting fresh. The reason for this is that if you continue playing from an old save file, you'll inevitably miss out on the intro and the part where you get to know Mai. So here's what happens if you load up a save file that was created before Mai was introduced to the game. This is somewhat what you would normally expect in such a situation, and it's similar to what I've seen in other games. This brings me back to the issue that the developers are not being original at all. The far bigger problem here, however, is that if you load up an old save file, you miss out on key information. For example, you won't be told that you need to unlock individual recipes, the new building mechanics aren't revealed, and the character roles are never explained as they would be if you start up a new game. But I did find one feature that almost every other game has, and has become a norm of good game development practices, and many scholars agree with this: the feature of petting a dog. Well, you can't do that in Traveler's Rest. In all of these updates, the vibe that made Traveler's Rest unique, its medieval authenticity and setting, has been lost. Initially, the game featured recipes and beverages that you would realistically find in medieval times. But now the game seems to have abandoned this medieval vibe with recipes that have no historical connection to the era. Today, you can find things like this in Traveler's Rest. Yeah, that looks totally medieval to me. Traveler's Rest is a very enjoyable and somewhat addictive game, but for players like myself who started playing just weeks after it was released in 2020, it feels like the game has sold out and lost the charm and the character that it once had. Instead, the developers seem to have chosen to mimic and copy logic from other games, mainly Stardew Valley. If you were to pull the camera back to an angle like the one in Stardew Valley, I swear you wouldn't know you're playing Traveler's Rest. It would feel like playing Stardew Valley with mods. For me, that's what Traveler's Rest has become. It's likely that the game no longer appeals to the original player base that helped establish its success. Instead, it seems to focus on attracting new players. By doing so, the developers can ensure that the new systems and Stardew Valley vibe are more readily accepted, especially if the new audience is unaware of the features or systems that previously existed in the game. Nevertheless, I still find Traveler's Rest to be an enjoyable and relaxing game to pick up every now and then, despite the fact that it now lacks the character it once had. Now for some reviews. Customer complains about his drink being watered down. I remind him he's drinking water. In a fit of rage, he goes to complain to my pet cat. "Can you believe the service in here?" he says. "Bad customers get beaten." You get to hit angry customers with a broom. It's basically Stardew Valley if you were Gus. So, should you play Traveler's Rest? Do you like managing a medieval tavern while brewing questionable beverages, serving up food that's about as authentic as a plastic turkey, and upgrading your humble inn to rival a 5-star resort? If so, Traveler's Rest might just be your new favorite way to burn a few hours, or a few decades, depending on how many updates you can handle. In the words of one reviewer of Traveler's Rest, Traveler's Rest, more like Starbrew Valley. Am I right? Sick game though. Congratulations to the winners of this giveaway, listed here. Send me an email to claim your Steam key. If you also want to participate in the next giveaway, which will be in the next video I release, simply subscribe to my channel. I will be picking 5 random subscribers with each video releasing. Thank you for watching this video, and if you enjoyed, please consider subscribing to my channel and leaving a like or a comment. This would help me make more such videos and grow my channel. Have a wonderful day.